that? And then I also had you watch that video again during Math Win. And I sent your parents on Seesaw the video in case you wanted to watch it that night. Remember this? Okay, well, we're going to do this the same way. So right now, we're going back to the very first lessons in 5th grade math. And the reason I'm reviewing is because I know it's been a long time. We went slow this year so that we could completely understand it. So I think you're going to find out the test is pretty easy, okay? So here's what it says. The following equations involve different quantities and use different operations, yet produce the same result. Use a place value chart and words to explain why this is true. Now, I'm going to restate that question. Here's what you have to do to answer it. You've got to use those two things, okay? So here's what it means. 3.17 times 10 to the third equals 3,170. 317,000 divided by 10 to the second equals the same answer. We have to explain why that's true. We can do that. So let's start by getting decimals on the place value chart. And this problem, 3.17, okay, you got 3.17 on there? Yeah. If I take it times 10 to the third, this is not the decimal trick. This is lesson 1 where we moved the digits, okay? So I'm going to move them how many times? 3. Watch my pen. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good thing we didn't do it the first way. Then I draw what? Times 10 to the third power. Then I move the 1. Do I have to write on top of that arrow? No. And I move the 7. What do I fill in with?
0.
Okay. Now tell me what I just did. I multiplied, right?
Multiplied to the third power.
I multiplied, and what happened to my digits?
Okay.
Oh, you got to be more specific.
You move the place value.
I moved them to what direction?
Left.
Okay, did the numbers get larger or smaller?
Larger.
Larger. Okay, so let's do this one. I multiplied and the numbers increased and moved to the left. So what important words are there here?
Increased.
Multiplied, increased, left. Those are pretty important, aren't they? Do you understand what just happened?
Yes.
And why we wrote that sentence?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to do the next one. So this one starts out with 317,000. And remember, I just changed numbers on the test. And what are we doing on this one? Dividing, okay? So when I divide, I want to move the numbers to the right. So I'm going to start with the furthest right number. I'm going to put the 0 there, the 0 there. What do I write on the first arrow?
Divided to the second power.
Divided by 10 to the second power. And then I can just continue moving digits over. And I don't think you should have to copy me, but you can sure check your answer with mine when you're done. Okay, so how is this one different? Which way did my digits move?
Left. Or right.
Right. Did they increase or decrease?
Decrease.
And am I multiplying or dividing?
Divide.
So all we have to do is change these three words, correct?
Yep.
All right, so I divided. I don't really like my wording with two ands in there, so I'm changing this first and to the word so. I divided so the numbers decreased and moved to the right. Sounds a little better to me. You don't have to change it, but I am. I didn't like two ands. Okay, so when you are preparing for a test, like your science quiz you had yesterday, you know, it was shorter than this test that you're going to take, but did you do better yesterday than you did in the past?
Yeah.
Why is that?
You practice.
You practiced, okay? So you can't expect to do really well on a math test just because it's in your brain. You have to practice, okay? So that's why I'm forcing you to practice during Math Win this afternoon, okay? I'm going to have you do this whole thing again, listen to it, watch it, study it, okay? Then it's your choice whether you practice any more than that. Let's keep going. So this is the area model. It says, use an area model to explain the product of 5.3 and 4. Write the product in standard form, word form, and expanded form. Okay, so I don't know if you remember the area model or not, but let's write the problem down. Go ahead and write it down. So which number should I put on the side of my area model, the decimal or the whole number? The whole number. Very good. So that means I only need two boxes in my area model. What place value is this 5 in? The ones. And what place value is the 3? Tenths. Very good. And then I need one more thing. Well, 3 more things. I need some lines down there, don't I? So make sure you put your lines at the bottom so we can add this up in standard form. Okay, now on Zern they wrote down 4 times 5 ones, didn't they? But we don't do that. What do we write?
4 times 5.
We just write 21s. Yeah, we don't write 4 times 5. Can you write 4 times 5 ones?
No.
Yeah, equals 21s? Sure you can. And 4 times 3 tenths equals 12 tenths. Then I have to decide, okay, how do I write 21s in standard form? Just write a 20. Guess what? I know there's a decimal place value, so I'm going to go ahead and add that decimal. Okay? And 12 tenths. Let me pull a stick for that. Jaylee, how do I write 12 tenths? 1.2. Okay, so I've got to add these up. Now, is it an option to write this on the place value chart and add it up?
Yeah.
Sure it is. I'm going to add it in my head, though. What's 20 plus one more?
21.
And what do I do with the 2? Put it on the end? Okay, so I've got 21.2. Guess what? That's standard form. So all you do is write the answer. Now, word form. When I say this number, I don't say 21.2. What do I say?
21 and 2 tenths.
21. So it's got to be all words. Which letter do I capitalize? The T, just the first one. 21 and
2 tenths.
2 tenths. No numbers. Now I'm going to see if I've got a place value chart I can open up. Oh, good. Okay, so the place value chart, I'm going to remind you how we did the expanded form on the place value chart in case you need it. You don't need yours right now. Just let me show you. So I'm going to write 21 and 2 tenths on the place value chart, okay? Then do you remember I said that would be 2 copies of 10, 1 copy of 1, 2 copies of 1/10 or 1/10, whatever you choose, okay? So if I go back to my paper, I'm just going to write that down. 2 copies of 10 plus 1 copy of 1 plus 2 copies of 1/10. Or if you'd rather, can you write the decimal instead of the fraction?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Okay, so how do you feel about this page? Pretty good? Seems pretty simple, doesn't it? Okay, we're going to go on. The next page, I've tried to help you as much as I can. So I went ahead and I put lines underneath what you need to add together. Hopefully that will help, okay? This is where we will use the place value chart to practice, and then it's your choice tomorrow. If you want to be exactly sure that you get it right, then use your place value chart, okay? So 4 tenths plus 13 hundredths. I have to write those in standard form. So tell me how to write 4 tenths, Alan. 0.4. And 13 hundredths, Fernanda. Good. Now I'm going to my place value chart and I'm going to put those on there. So 4 tenths, 13 hundredths, add it up. What'd you get? 53 hundredths, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put 53 hundredths right here. Which one's larger, class?
53.
53 is larger than 35, isn't it? Okay, so that's how we're going to go through these. The next one, 12 tenths. How do I write it in standard form, Sergio? No, that's 12 hundredths. So the 2 goes in the tenths place. So if I put the 2 in the tenths place, 1.2. See how we just used the place value chart to help us? Okay, Eileen, 7 tenths. How do I write it? Okay, and what about 43 hundredths, Caitlin?
You write 0.43.
Good. Now, Daniel said, can I just add these up on a paper instead of the place value chart? You can do it however you want, okay? I'm going to do it on the place value chart so I can line up my decimals. Sound good? Okay. So you tell me what to write down. Oh, I had 1.2. Then what? 0.
7.
And then,
0.43.
okay. Now I'm going to add that up. Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got, oh, it's the same, isn't it? Okay, so what do I put in the circle?
Equal.
Equals. Okay, is there anyone out there that doesn't understand what we need to be doing on these? Okay, let's go ahead and do C. So C says 342 hundredths. So the last digit I write is in the hundredths place. So is that correct? Okay. What's the next number?
0.7.
Again?
7 tenths.
Okay, and what's next?
That's it.
Oh, just 2. Okay. So I'm going to add those together, but first I need to write them in standard form, don't I?
There's another one.
So I've got 3.42 plus 7 tenths. Okay? So when you add them together, what do you get?
4 and 12 tenths.
4 and 12
Oh, yeah.
hundredths.
What if I do another pop-
This one right here, I think I can add in my head. 3 plus 49 hundredths.
52. 3.49.
It's almost like adding $3.49, isn't it? Yeah. So which one's larger? Okay, you should be writing on your paper.
4.12.
4.12. Okay, now down here, Mrs. Lowry, I have no idea what I was thinking when I wrote these, okay? Because we've never seen anything like this, but we can still do it. So put your parentheses on there first of all. This is expanded form. Okay, so 3 plus, how do I write 24 tenths? 24 times 1 tenth.
2.4.
2.4 plus, how do I write 16 hundredths? Okay, that's a little bit confusing. I'm going to put it on the place value chart. So I've got 3 and then 2.4. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then, what's the last number?
0.16.
Okay, I'm going to add those together. Five and 56 hundredths. Okay. Okay, now what they're trying to get you to do here, don't fall for it. They want you to pick the longest number. But what do we need to look at instead of how long it is? The whole numbers. Good. Okay. So the whole numbers are 5 and
3.
which one's larger?
5.
Okay. You're not falling for it, are you? Okay, let's do the next one. It's the same kind of crazy problem. Sorry about that. You did fine though, didn't you?
I mean, I guess.
Okay, so I've got 14 plus, Ryder, how am I going to do 72 times 1/10?
7.2.
You got it. Plus 4 times 1,000th, Jesus. Well, I'm not adding anything yet. Do I just need to write 4 thousandths here? Okay, so now I'm putting this on the place value chart. Can some of you add this in your head?
Yeah.
Sure. Wish I could remember what it said. What's the next number?
Sorry. 7.2. And next number is 4,000.
Thank you. Okay, so if I add that up, this way I won't mess up. Are you with me? 21 and 204 thousandths. So I'm going to write that answer down here. Okay, now we're still not done because now we have to compare numbers. So I'm just going to refresh your memory. Okay, if I compare these two numbers, and I showed you how on a place value chart, didn't I?
Yeah.
Are they the same?
Yeah.
Are they the same?
Yeah.
Are these the same?
Yeah. Oh, never
What?
mind.
Which one's larger?
4.
So 21 and 24 hundredths is larger, even though this is longer. You see what they're trying to get you to do? Okay. These last ones are the decimal hop. We're going to practice a decimal hop. So go ahead and put your parentheses on.
And it's only 2, so it'll be easier.
There's only 2. And it's, yeah. Okay, so if I take 5 tenths times 10 to the second, Lillian, how many times do I hop it? Which way? The decimal trick says move the decimal to the right when you multiply, correct? Okay, so that gives me what number?
50.
50 plus, and then I'm going to do times 10 to the third, 6 thousandths. Isaac, which way do I move the decimal?
Alright.
How many times?
3.
So what do I get? What's my answer?
6.
6. Because if I erase my old decimal, my hops, and all those zeros,
You just have 6.
I just have 6. Okay? So the answer to this one is
56.
56. Okay? Jaden, 5 tenths times 10. What's the answer? 5. Because I'm going to hop the decimal once to the right. Okay?
Powers.
And 6 tenths times 10 to the second power. Oziel, what do I need to do?
To the right.
How many times?
2.
Good. So this gives me 60. So that is, which one's larger?
65.
Okay. So how do you feel about page 2? You can do this. Now I want to tell you something. Every single time I put a line on there, I'm giving you a point for writing on it. So this page is worth 14 points.
14.
It's not just your greater than, less than, equal to. It's all the work that leads up to the right answer. Okay, this one, this last one. It's confusing. Okay, so we can do it though. Go ahead and turn to the last page. You're done with your place value chart. So you can close that iPad now. Okay, I'm going to read this and then we're going to talk about it. Dr. Mann mixed 13.258 grams of chemical A, 10.055 grams of chemical B, and 3.602 grams of chemical C to make 5 doses of medicine. Now, this is very important. So I want you to take your pencil. I want you to actually put a box around 5 doses. That first part of the problem, just this first sentence, you're going to need later. Okay, you're going to need it on the third one on the page. So we're gonna put a box around 5 doses, and then I think what we'll do, I got to change the way my paper looks. I'm going to draw an arrow down to C. And we'll talk about it in a minute. So everybody do that. Put a box around 5 doses, draw an arrow down to C. Am I helping them too much, Mrs. Lowry? Okay, good. All right, so now let's read the first thing we have to do. Okay, so I'm reading by A. Where should your eyes be? About how much medicine did he make in grams? Estimate the amount of each chemical by rounding to the nearest tenth of a gram before finding the sum. Show all your thinking. Oh my goodness. So we've got to do this. We've got to estimate. How do we estimate in 5th grade?
It's an educated guess.
No, it's not. Not in 5th grade. What do you have to do?
Look around.
Round. Very good. You round. Now, in science, could your estimate be an educated guess? Yeah. But in math, we're going to round it. So how far do we round it? Nearest tenth. And then we have to find the sum. What does sum tell me I'm going to do? Add. Okay. So here's how I want you to set it up. And I actually did this for you on your test, so you won't have to. But I want you to write A, B, C. And I want you to leave room over to the side to add these 3 numbers up. So chemical A is 13.258. Chemical B is 10.055. And chemical C is 3.602. Now, what's the first thing we need to do here? We can't add yet because it says estimate the amount of each chemical by rounding to the nearest tenth of a gram before finding the sum. We have to round. And if I'm rounding to the nearest tenths place, which digit will I circle? The 2. And I'll underline the 5. Okay? So Cody, the 5 tells me stay the same or add 1. So the 2 becomes a, and then I flex my muscles like a hero. Digits to the right, change to 0. What comes after that? All the other digits stay the same. Okay? So this first number is 13.3. I'm going to write that down because I'm going to add 3 numbers up, aren't I? Yeah. And remember, when you add, you have to line up decimals. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing again. So I look at the 5, and the 5 tells me to do what, Adam? Stay the same or add 1?
Stay the same. Or add 1.
So the 0 becomes a 1. Flex your muscles like a hero. All the other digits stay the same. What do I write for my answer on this one?
10.1.
10.1. So do I need all those zeros at the end?
No.
No. Okay. Morgan. Which digit will I underline?
The 6.
Well, I'll circle the 6.
Oh, yeah. And then underline the 0.
Good. 0 tells me
To stay the same.
stay.
And digits to the right change to 0. All the other digits stay the same.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even have to ask her a bunch of questions. Now be careful when you write this down. That 3 is in the ones place.
And it may look like it's in the.
And so if you want to add it on your place value chart, is that an option for the test tomorrow? Yeah. So 3 plus 6 plus 1, 10. 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 1 more.
7. 27.
Okay, so about how much medicine did Dr. Mann mix? 27 grams. Now, the only reason why I think I want to leave the 0 on there is what did it tell me to round it to?
10.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write Dr. Mann mixed 27 grams of medicine. So two things here. You had to round each number, then add. Okay? All right, we're going to go down to the next one. This one says, find the actual amount of medicine mixed by Dr. Mann. Then it says, what is the difference between your estimate and the actual? So we have two things. Actual amount and difference. So what am I going to do for the actual amount? What kind of math problem am I going to do? Adding. I'm going to add these three actual numbers, the ones I wrote in blue. Okay? I'm going to add 13.258, 10.055, 3.602. And can I add those on my place value chart to check? Yes, but I want to see it on the paper. Okay? Now, Lane said, well, can't we just add 2 and then add the third one to double check? Yes, you can. I'm just not going to take time for that right now. So you add it up and you tell me if I'm right, because my brain isn't working very well today. Okay, so the actual amount of medicine was 26 and 915 grams, correct? Okay, what is the difference between your estimate and the actual amount? What was our estimate? 27. In fact, I can't believe Mrs. Lowry missed this. I'm just kidding. So, what word should I have put right here? About. Because this was an estimate, wasn't it? Dr. Mann mixed about 27 grams of medicine. Now, we're going to take that estimate. Is the estimate more or less than the actual? More. So, which number goes on top?
26.9.
Which number is more? 27. When you, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
When you subtract, the big dog goes on top. So, which number's the big dog? 27. Even though it's shorter, it's still larger. So I'm going to subtract 26 and 915 thousandths. And guess what kids are going to do? I know this. Watch what they're going to do. Are you ready? Don't write this. They're going to do this. No! What do I need to do before I can ever subtract?
Add zero.
Add zeros. Then what?
And then unbundle.
Well, true. Well, actually, we're going to go next door, right? We're going to borrow. So the 7 becomes a 6. This 10 becomes a 9. This 10 becomes a 9. And that 10 stays at 10. Now, I'm going to tell you on your test tomorrow you're going to have to do that, but actually you have 4 zeros you have to do that on. Okay? All right, so 10 minus 5, 9 minus 1, 9 minus 9, 6 minus 6, 2 minus 2. Okay, which 0 do I not need? The first one. Okay? So don't leave that 0 on there because I'm going to count it wrong. You know already you don't put a 0 in the tens place. You just put it in the ones. So what is the difference between the two? 85 thousandths. That's not very much. We had a really good estimate. Okay, so you know what to do there? Add the actual amounts, and tomorrow on the test, I have those numbers typed in there for you, so you don't even have to write them. And I even put A, B, and C down, okay? And then, so you're going to add those 3, And then you're going to subtract from your estimate, if your estimate is larger. Let me see if it is. Oh, yes, it is. Your estimate's larger. I'm just going too easy on you. Okay, this is where we need to know how many doses of medicine, because it says how many grams are in one dose. So what do I need to do?
Put it in 5 boxes. 5 doses.
Okay, divide it into 5 boxes because there's 5 doses. Do I have a total amount of medicine?
Yes.
This is confusing, but which one is it?
It's 26.915.
So if you can just remember to take your answer, your total, bring it right down, that might help. Okay, and where does my question mark go?
On the first box.
In the first box. We got to know 1 dose, okay? This is what you've been waiting for. Long division. Okay, so get it set up. We're dividing it by 5 because there are 5 boxes and 5 doses. You have to go all the way to 45. And you've got to start with 0. Sorry. And somebody asked me in block 1, do I have to write those multiples of 5?
Yeah.
I answered that yesterday. I said you don't have to write those if you can get it right without making any mistakes. Okay, so let's talk through it. Which number in the multiples is closest to 2 without going over?
0.
Okay, so I'm going to divide by what?
5.
And what do I get?
0.
Where do I write the 0?
Directly above the 2.
Okay. What do I do next, Oziel?
You multiply.
Okay, 5 times 0 equals 0. And then what do I do, Oziel?
You check if the 0 is smaller than the 5.
Okay, just a minute. So you have to subtract, correct? Okay. And then you check, is the 2 less than the 5? Now bring down the 6. And sometimes we even tried it without doing the 0 down here, didn't we? But since it's a test, I think maybe we better just do all the steps. Okay? So I'm looking for 26 over to the side. How about Alan?
5 times 5 is
Okay, so we've got 25 divided by equals. Good. Where do I write the 5, Alan?
directly above the 6.
Directly above the 6. I love this math vocabulary. Okay, Jay Lee, what do I do now?
5 times 5.
And what's the answer?
5.
Good. And when I subtract, what do I get?
1.
Good. Okay, Fernanda, what comes next? Good. Is the 5 less than the, or is the 1 less than the 5? So bring down my 9. So I'm looking for 19 over to the side. Sergio, which number's closest? 15. So what am I dividing by? And 15 divided by 5 equals? Where did I write the 3? Directly above the 9. What do I do next? Eileen. Multiply what 2 numbers? What do I get? 15, and 19 minus 15 is 4. Now, when you're doing the test review, can you just pause it, do the question, then check it? Yeah, that's what I would do. How many of you are already finished? I know. Okay, so I'm looking for a 41 over here. You see one?
It's 40.
So 40 divided by 5 equals? They're pretty good at this, Mrs. Lowry.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Is that one I've already used? Yeah. So I already know the answer to 15 divided by 5. What is it?
3.
I'm about to run out of room. Okay. Okay. So my answer here, what's 1 dose of medicine?
5 and 383,000.
Okay. And grams. So I'm fine if you don't write a sentence and you just put that down there. So I know your answer. Okay? All right. We've got one more. This is perfect timing. Round the weight of 1 dose. Here's 1 dose. To the nearest gram. So what place value would that be? No. Ones. Where's the gram on my place value chart? In the ones place. Okay? So 5.383, and we're going to round it to the nearest ones place. You know what to do?
No.
So find the ones place and circle that digit. Move to the right and underline, get it. Now do you know what to do? Isaac, what does the 3 tell me? Stay the same or add 1? Good. What comes after that? Nope. Now flex your muscles like a hero. Digits to the right, change to 0. What's the answer? 5 what? Grams. Okay, that's your test review.